slave mentality is a hard mentality to break. Those mental shackles got a strong hold on a lot of you. A lot of you don't even know that you're a slave to your own misery, that you're a slave to the misery of the world around you, that you're a slave to your own ignorance, that you're a slave to the ignorance of the world around you. You've been programmed to think and to call it normal. You've been told to be normal. You've been programmed to think that you're supposed to be normal, and anything abnormal is wrong or dysfunctional, or actually it's in reverse. What you consider to be normal is actually dysfunctional. Look at the world around you and how dysfunctional it is, how chaotic and how out of order it is. You call that normal? That's functional. Nah. Look at all of the weird things that go on. It's not something that you should be used to. That's not something that you should get yourself accustomed to. That's not something that you should accept as being normal behavior. As, hey, that's just the way of the world. Hey, that's just how it is. What are you going to do about it? You can't change it. There's nothing you can do. You just got to roll with the punches. See, that mentality, that logic, that perception, that's the problem. That's what keeps you in the slave mentality. Because there is something you can do about it. You always have a choice. Slavery is a choice. Regardless of how you feel about it, remove your emotions. Be logical. You choose to be a slave. It's your fear that puts you in bondage. It's your fear that keeps you in captivity. It's your fear that allows you to become a slave. It's your ignorance and it's your fear that keeps you trapped in bondage, that keeps you in captivity, and that makes you a slave and keeps you a slave. And see, once you understand that, you comprehend that, then you move backwards. You go back to the drawing board, as they would say. You recalculate your steps from beginning to where you are now, and you see where you went wrong. You see where you went off course. See, people have become accustomed to what they call normal, which is toxicity. You're in a toxic world that's normalized toxicity, that's normalized mental illness and toxic behavior, mentally ill behavior. That's all become normalized. So if that's the norm, then you need to strive to be abnormal, to go against the norm. Because all of that's an illusion, all of that's a trap. It's just a cycle that keeps revolving. The more you feed into it, the more of the same shit you get out of it. So, I mean, you gotta really take a look at the world around you and think about these different things. But ultimately, it's up to you. Like I said, you do have a choice. It's your choice if you choose to follow that program, or it's your choice if you choose to break that program. See, a lot of people have become content with the program because it's easy to just go along. They've been told to just go along to get along. They don't want to cause any ripples in the water. Well, sometimes you gotta splash. You gotta mix shit up. You gotta cause those big waves, because that's what's bringing about the change, the transformation. You can calmly be a slave, or you can set yourself free. And allow uncalming manner. Because that's what happens with the truth. It'll make you free, but the truth shakes things up. It breaks things up. So, don't let your fears lead you. Don't let your fear control you. Don't let your fear keep you in bondage. Because that's all that fear does. That's all that ignorance does. Don't allow those things to control your life. Educate yourself. Seek light. Seek knowledge. Learn as much as you can. The more you learn, the better you can discern the world around you. It gives you a better vision, better clarity when looking at the world of illusions and being able to see those illusions for what they are. But you don't want to get stuck in a docile mentality where you become complacent or content with being a slave because it's easy, or because you don't want to fight, or because you don't want to splash and disturb that calm water. Like I said, to free yourself, you may have to cause a disturbance. You may have to splash, produce big waves, big currents, and that current is what changes. Change the current state of things to a different state. But a lot of this, it leads to a person's or a main factor, and this is the lifestyle that you live, the lifestyle that you accept. I mean, you have to question, are you even living a lifestyle? Are you even living at all? Your day-to-day routine, is it promoting life or is it promoting death? What are you taking in? Are you taking in life? Are you taking in vitality? Or are you taking in death? What are you taking in? Are you taking in toxins? Are you taking in poisons? Or are you taking in nutrients, minerals? Are you taking in substance? Are you taking in nourishing substances? Is the energy that you're entertaining, is it nourishing or is it malnourishing? You have to take a look at your lifestyle. You have to take a look at the things also that you put in your body. Diet and lifestyle, it has a lot to do with mentality and behavior. See, when you got these chemicals that they put in these food drugs, or these drugs disguised as food, you got to understand these chemicals are mind altering. So a lot of people aren't even functioning in their right mind. They're in a chemical induced state, a stupor. So that along with the lifestyle, it's an overload. So you wonder why a lot of people don't have to fight, why a lot of people seem docile, why they don't seem to have any interest in taking action or producing any change. It's because they're in a drug-induced state that keeps them docile, that keeps them weak, that takes all of the fight out of them. It's killing their spirit. The slave mentality is a program. And in a lot of people, it's become something that's hereditary or genetically passed down. So now what you have to do is, this is also why I mentioned the diet and what you're putting in your body, because now you have to find ways to recalibrate your DNA, to unlock the DNA that is beneficial to your evolution. And then you also have to find ways to lock down the junk DNA, or the DNA that does the opposite. It is not beneficial to your evolution. So you really have to put a lot of time and effort into yourself, a lot of focus and dedication into yourself, more so than anything else. What good is it to master everything else around you when you haven't yet mastered you? What if you truly mastered it all? You become a master of illusions. You have to mold and master your reality. This is how you change your mentality. This is how you put yourself in a better place mentally. This is how you free yourself from mental bondage. You analyze the problem. You diagnose the problem. And you provide an antidote to the problem. A cure, a solution, a resolution. But you don't waddle in misery. You don't complain or have pity parties for yourself or stay in a pitiful place of being. You have to take that information and you have to apply it appropriately and do what you need to do to put yourself where you need to be mentally and physically. Remove the distractions. Remove the excuses. Focus and do what you need to do for you. Because if you don't, who will? Because mental slavery is a choice. It's your choice. So, if you choose to be a slave to your insecurities, to your lack of self-confidence, to your fears, to your ignorance, that's your choice. That's a choice that you chose to make. And it's also your choice to no longer practice those behaviors. It's your choice to no longer be a slave to your insecurities, to your lack of self-confidence, to your fears, and to your ignorances. The moment that you make up your mind and decide that it stops, then it stops. I've said it before, and you hear me say it constantly. Right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. So when right knowledge is bestowed upon you, then you apply appropriate or right behavior, and you change your situation. You don't complain about it. You don't waddle in misery behind it. You don't sit and expect sympathy or people to sympathize with you or to join you in your pity, to entertain your sorrows and your insecurities and your fears and your ignorance, telling you things that make you feel good but that don't bring about any real change. Stop creating those circles. If you're going to create a circle that's going to be beneficial. Create a circle that's going to be progressive. Create a circle that's going to bring about the change that you need, the change that you want, the change that you're seeking. But again, it all starts with you. It's your choice. Either you choose to be a slave mentally, or you choose to liberate yourself, or you choose to free yourself mentally. See, this is what the expression free your mind, this is what it's all about. This is the foundation of that. Free your mind from captivity. Free your mind from mental slavery. Free your mind from psychological bondage. Only you have the power to free yourself. Don't expect someone to come along and break those chains for you. Don't expect someone to do for you what you're not willing to do for you. If you're not going to put forth any effort to remove those chains, don't expect someone else. Don't expect the savior or a hero to come along. If that's what you choose to do, that is your choice. See, oftentimes, people who are in a miserable place or a miserable state, what's the new phrase, the social media phrase? I hate it here. Well, how did you get there? What are you still doing there if you hate it there so much? Leave there. Remove yourself from there. Wherever there is a bad place mentally. You're in a bad mental state of being. So you need to remove yourself from that. Don't just stay there saying, I hate it here, and expect other people to sympathize with that hatred that you have for yourself, for your situation. And don't expect them to entertain your current mental condition. Your mental illness is exactly your mental illness. There may be people out there who prescribe methods that can help you cure certain forms of mental illness. But you have to be willing to take those techniques and apply those techniques. Take those methods and apply those methods. You have to be willing to make those lifestyle changes. You have to be willing to make those diet changes. You have to be willing to feed yourself something of substance and of value. Something that will vitalize your system. Something that will electrify you. Something that will wake you up on a soul level. Or you can continue to feed yourself things that will malnourish. Things that will keep you docile. Things that will strip the nutrients. That will strip the life from you. Things that will keep your soul sleeping. But it's all your choice. That's why I always talk about choices. That's why I always say that if you want to change something, you can change it. That's the whole purpose of all of this. To be a creator. You create what you please. You create what you will. But don't allow yourself to be the subject of someone else's creation, or what they're creating, or what they will into existence. Who wants to forever be a pawn on someone else's chessboard? You have to pull yourself out of these places that you don't want to be. All of these places, all of the here's that you hate to be. You have to pull yourself out of that place. Wherever here may be, pull yourself out of there if you hate it here. And if you choose not to do nothing about it, and if you're not willing to do nothing about it, don't complain about it. Keep your misery to yourself. Don't seek company. Don't expect someone to come along and continuously entertain or to sympathize or to suffer with you in your misery, in your ignorance, in your foolishness. That's something that you need to do alone. Just like the process of recovery, that's something that you have to do alone as well. To be alone is to be all one. To be all one is to become one with yourself, to balance yourself, to center yourself, and to keep yourself on point, to keep yourself balanced, to keep yourself aligned the way that you're supposed to be. And that's basically just saying, stay on the path. Staying on your path and walking that path. Not allowing yourself to be distracted, detoured, taken off that path, and definitely not allowing yourself to become lost and unaware of where the path is and what your purpose is. So, take the time out to really analyze yourself and really evaluate the things in your life that are hindering you from achieving what you need to achieve. The things that are keeping you in a bad place mentally. And remove those things. Replace them with things that are more constructive, things that will build you up mentally, things that will strengthen you mentally. And learn how to defend yourself mentally from all of these psychic attacks. Good mental self-defense is very important. There's a lot of different techniques that you can practice to achieve this or to be able to defend yourself properly from psychic attack. There's many psychic self-defense techniques, but you have to be willing to apply these techniques. Seek and you shall find. What you find, will you use, will you apply? That's your choice. You choose to remain a mental slave, or if you choose to free yourself, just know that whatever you choose to do, that's a work that you have to do by yourself. Don't expect someone else to be your hero, to be your savior, or to carry you along the way. There's going to be some bumps, there's going to be some stumbles, there's going to be some falls, but you just have to pick yourself back up and keep it pushing. And do what you need to do for you to get to where you need to be.